Hello everyone, I'm Dr. S. Menaka, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of Public Administration, Rathinam College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. I'm very honored to share my topic on utilizing artificial intelligence to support and develop indigenous knowledge systems towards sustainable development. I would like to explain the meaning of IKS. It is a rich, context-specific and time-tested bodies of knowledge developed by indigenous communities through generations of close interaction with their natural environment. However, globalization, modernization, and lack of documentation have endangered these systems. With the advent of artificial intelligence, a transformative opportunity arises to preserve, enhance, and apply IKS in innovative ways to achieve the sustainable development goals. Next one is the value and vulnerability of IKS. These are things aligns with IKS. Sustainability through traditional ecological practices, resilience through adaptive to environmental stress, knowledge transfer through oral ritual-based experiential, threats through language loss, displacement, lack of legal recognition. These are my objectives of the study. First one is to explore how AI can document, preserve, and promote ideas. Let us begin by looking at how artificial intelligence can support indigenous knowledge system, or we can say IKS. One of the most promising aspects of AI is its ability to document and preserve traditional knowledge that is often passed down orally or through practice. AI can help in digitize rituals, practices, and oral histories, ensuring their continuity and wider recognition beyond preservation. AI can also promote IKS by making it accessible to researchers, policymakers, and younger generations through interactive platform and educational tools. The second objective is to assess AI roles in integrating traditional knowledge with modern scientific approaches. We evaluate AI role in bridging the gap between tradition and science. AI can act as a translator between indigenous practices and modern scientific frameworks. For instance, machine learning can analyze patterns in traditional medicine and compare them with the biomedical data. So this integration not only validates traditional practices, but also enhances scientific understanding and innovation rooted in local knowledge. Third one is to identify ethical consideration in AI-IKS collaboration. However, with the great technological potential comes greater responsibility. A critical part of this research is identifying the ethical challenges involved in AI-IKS collaboration. This includes issues like data ownership, informed consent, and the risk of misrepresentation or exploitation. We must ensure that AI applications respect the culture and spiritual significance of indigenous knowledge and the communities' right and control over their heritage. The last one is to provide policy recommendations for using AI in sustainable and culturally responsible. Finally, the project aims to provide actionable policy recommendations. These will focus on creating frameworks for using AI in ways that are both sustainable and culturally respectful. The goal is to guide government, institutions, and developers in co-creating AI systems that empower indigenous communities, protect their intellectual rights, and contribute to long-term inclusive development. Next one is AI tools in IKS. So how the AI tools helps to preserve the IKS. First one is natural language processing through digitized language document and oral law. Second one is machine learning and big data through analyzing medical plans, optimize farming practices, etc. The last one is computer vision and AI. That means preserve artifacts, immersive learning tools, etc. This is one of the case study, Kurumbar healing in Nilgiris, traditional bone setting and herbal medicine, oral transmission of healing techniques, deep knowledge of native plant and ecology. These are the AI applications in Kurumbar healing. NLP documentation, that means transcript oral traditions. Second one is medicinal database, that means AI driven ethnobotany analysis. Third one is chat jobs, that means local language health support tools. Last one is this mapping, that means sacred groves and medicinal plant habitats. Ethical considerations. Data sovereignty. First one is data sovereignty, community owned data. First and foremost, that means data sovereignty is essential. Indigenous communities must have ownership and control over any data derived from their knowledge, practice, or lands. This ensures that information is not exploited or misused and remain rooted in the hands of those to whom it truly belongs. Second one is free, prior, and informed consent. That means FPIC. Any engagement with the indigenous communities, especially involving AI and data, must begin with open, transparent dialogue. Extra. Communities must fully understand the implications and voluntarily agree before any data is collected or used. Next one is participated design means developing AI tools not for communities but with the indigenous voices must be involved in every step of the design, development, and deployment process. This ensures that the tools created are culturally appropriate, useful, and respectful. The last one is respecting spiritual and cultural dimensions. It is a vitally ethical stance. Indigenous knowledge systems are deeply spiritual and cultural, not just a data set to be mined. A project must respect this by avoiding exploitative approaches and instead fostering mutual benefit and cultural sensitivity. Next one is capacity building, the digital literacy for indigenous youth. It is about investing in indigenous futures. We must support digital literacy and technological training for indigenous youth, empowering them to become active creators and guardians of their knowledge in the digital life. Next one is policy. What are the policy recommendations for it? First one is a framework sensitive to indigenous cultural values. To begin with, it is crucial to develop a framework that are culturally sensitive. These frameworks must respect indigenous worldviews, values, and ways of knowing. They should be flexible enough to accommodate oral traditions, non-Western knowledge, formats, and community-specific norms. So cultural sensitivity in AI design is not optional, it is a foundational. Second one is we must foster collaborative ecosystem. That means bringing together AI developers, indigenous knowledge holders, and policymakers create space for inclusive dialogue, shared learning, and co-creation. These partnerships help ensure that technological development are ethical, effective, and aligned with the indigenous priorities. Finally, sustained funding is needed for interdisciplinary and community-led research. Its support should be directed toward initiatives that bridge AI, anthropology, environmental studies, and indigenous leadership. When research is grounded in community realities and co-designed with indigenous stakeholders, it leads to more equitable and sustainable outcomes. So next one, these are the strategic pathway to bridge AI and indigenous knowledge system. First one is community tech hub. To begin, the establishment of community tech hub can serve as a powerful local resource. So these hubs would provide access to digital tools, training, and collaborative space where indigenous youth and elders can interact with the technology in ways that reflect their needs and values. They become innovation centers rooted in culture. Next, we advocate for open source AI platforms, especially designed to integrate and safeguard indigenous knowledge system. Open source models promote transparency, accessibility, and community control, allowing indigenous groups to shape the tools themselves and avoid dependency on external technologies. Next one is policy integration in government schemes. It's essential. We must ensure the integration of AIK's initiatives in existing government schemes, such as those for education, healthcare, tribal welfare, and rural development. Embedding these efforts in official programs ensures sustainability and formal recognition of indigenous contributions. Next one is interdisciplinary curriculum. Finally, the development of an interdisciplinary curriculum combining AI and anthropology is vital. This educational model can equip the next generation of scholars and practitioners with the technical skill and cultural sensitivity required to responsibly engage with the indigenous knowledge, but to propose a new way of culturally aware technologies. the way forward. As we look to the future, I stand by belief that I can bridge modern technology and ancient wisdom. This is not just a personal mission, but a collaborative responsibility. Empowerment comes through inclusion, respect, and ethics. Indigenous communities must not be passive subject of technology, but active participants and leaders in shaping its use. It's time to recognize the indigenous knowledge system deserves to stand alongside scientific knowledge, not beneath it. Both have value and together they can solve complex problems from climate change to community health. By embracing a culturally sensitive approach, we move closer to achieve truly sustainable development. On that, respect diversity, promotes equity, and honor the deep wisdom rooted in the land and its people. Thank you for this great opportunity. Thank you very much.